is Aftershocks right here on AftershocksTV.com and Heavy Metal Television. And when you talk about heavy metal and heavy metal television, there's nobody, and I do mean nobody, more heavy metal than this guy. He's got a brand new release with CROWBAR called Zero and Below. He's the longtime leader of CROWBAR, the singer, the guitarist. He's in Down as well. So he's somebody you know if you are any kind of a heavy metal fan, and he's here to join us today. It is Mr. Kirk Windstein. Kurt, how are you?
I'm doing good, bro. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Well, Kurt, it's easy to have you on for an interview when you drop this kind of a just crushing record on us, man. What a great record Zero and Below is, man. Fantastic.
Thank you so much. We love it, and unfortunately, I mean, everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that, but unfortunately, the record was completed basically 2 years ago. Okay. So it's been shelved. Like by the time it comes out, it will have been over 2 years since we completed it. And I mean, completed it, mixed, mastered, turned into the label, the whole 9 yards. So, we were just like, man, it's just not, it makes no sense to put it out. We can't go on tour. And, right. Jimmy Josta manages me and CROWBAR. And, he's like, dude, don't put it out. I know you want to. It's a strong record and all that, but I'm telling you, and I always listen to his advice because pretty much he's always right. So, and that's the truth. But so we were just like, look, guys, I told him, I said, there's no reason to even put this thing out until we can get out there and get after it. And a couple of, I guess maybe back in about October, November, we decided upon, let's just put it out in March and hope that everything's okay,
Right, sure. Well, and you're right. It's such a tough time. I can't tell you how many bands I've interviewed that put records out and they just feel like they're lost records. They just feel like they got missed. It's a crazy time.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is we really believe in this record. And I mean, 2 years later, I could listen to it and I still love it. I wouldn't change anything. And this is also the first time. And I put my first record out 31 years ago, Obedience Through Suffering. It's also the first time in my life and in my career that I've fully recorded a record and then sat on it for 2 fucking years. Right. This is not something pleasant, not something I want to do again. But it was a necessity, I think, to hold off on it, and I think it's going to pay off for us in the end.
Sure. Now I gotta ask, since the record was done, right as before the pandemic really got full swing, what did you do for 2 years if you weren't working on that record?
Basically, I did online guitar lessons, just teaching. I'm not technically taught or anything. I play by ear.
Sure.
So I just taught CROWBAR and Down and Kingdom of Sorrow songs to any fans that wanted to do that, which was a lot of fun. Sure. And, I started writing my second solo record, which I'm musically, I've got one more song to do Wednesday, and it's done.
Okay.
So I sang 2 songs on it so far. So I'm looking forward to that, but that's down the line. But so really, just tried to keep busy, man. My wife ended up getting a job waitressing at a seafood restaurant right on the corner that we go to all the time.
Right.
And she had never done that. She's been a bartender for 30 freaking something years, but
okay.
We were in there and one of the girls was like, believe it or not, we actually need help. And this is in 2020 during,
wow,
like the restaurant was, once it opened, it was open at 50% capacity. And I think they had lost a few, employees or whatever, but she thought, I might be able to pick up like a Saturday shift. Nope. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like 2 o'clock till 8 o'clock they were open. So that was her life, and I was starting my online guitar lessons at like 4 p.m. every day.
Sure.
And not proud of it, but really got into some heavy beer drinking during that thing and gained about 30 pounds, which I'm glad to say I have lost.
Nice.
And but like a lot of people got into fitness and shit, and I kind of went the other way. I'm eating frozen pizza and fucking
Right.
drinking Coors Light. And it is what it is. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do shit. I didn't know
Right.
what my future was. It was very scary. There's a
Sure.
lot of anxiety, a lot of worrying, and luckily and thankfully, we're blessed that everything worked out in the end.
Right.
So we're excited to get this record out and just move. Like I always use in the words of Mr. Philip H. Anselmo from the amazing record Reinventing the Steel.
Right.
Yesterday don't mean shit.
Right.
And that's like my motto in life. I
Sure.
tell my wife that all the time. She'd be like, "Oh, well," I'm like, "We can't do anything about, you cannot change what happened, and
Right.
you live in the moment and you try to plan for the future, but
Mhm.
really that's all you can really do,
Right.
So that's what that's kind of what my motto is. So but yeah, I made a lot of changes for the positive, and I'm glad about that. And just excited to we're about to start rehearsing next week for the Sepultura tour. And
Sure.
yeah, everything looks good for that. It's kind of like to the point where, and I watch, I'm old school. Most people are like, "Oh, I don't have fucking cable. I watch shit on the computer." I'm like, "Nah, I got to wake up and watch the morning news. I need to see what the
Right.
weather is. I got to watch the sports. I need to see what's going on." I don't watch national news, but it's too much, it drive me crazy.
Right.
But I do like to watch the local news and, just whatever. I'm kind of old school with that. But
Sure.
but for me, man, it's like we're just what I was gonna say, now that I'm speaking about the news, it seems like that they're starting to talk, and they're not just talking about Louisiana or the New Orleans area, they're talking about the whole US,
Right.
where they're like they think it's about to hit a plateau. Like it's spreading so fast, it's so fucking contagious that it's one of two things. Either we literally shut down the entire country, or people get their fucking vaccines, whether they like it or not. I was not a big fan of it, I'll admit, but I am fully vaccinated and I'm proud of it to protect. And I caught COVID. So did my drummer on tour with Municipal Waste. Not those guys' fault, but
Sure.
we did catch it. It wasn't a picnic, I'll tell you that. It was no fun. But that's done. But it's one of them things, man. Wear your mask, do your social distancing, keep your fucking hands clean. If you don't feel good, stay home. And we have no choice. I'm like,
Right.
and if I worked at the corner grocery or something, and that was my job, and I never wanted to travel or go anywhere, who knows? But
Sure.
guess what? I love to travel, and I love to travel around the world, and I love to play. You tell me to get fucking 2 shots, I get 2 shots. You tell me to get 3, I'll get 3, whatever it takes.
Right. No,
You
that
know,
makes sense.
I mean,
And
and it's it's just, I mean, that's just the reality. So, hey,
yeah.
whatever it takes to protect myself and others around me, I'm gonna do what I can do.
Right. And I mean, what are you really gonna do? You can't. You've been a musician for 40 years at this point. I mean,
Exactly.
it's not like you're gonna say, okay, well now I'm gonna go be a school teacher or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's no. This is it. There's no. I'm way past the point of no return, and there's no
Right.
retirement plan. So, I'm trying to get myself healthy and and just keep on rolling, man.
Right. Certainly, man. Well, dude, you mentioned the Sepultura tour, Sepultura and Sacred Reich. You guys go out in March, I believe.
Yep.
How is that going to be different now with COVID? I mean, COVID's a part of our life now. Is touring still fun? Is it more of a job because you really can't interact so much with the fans? I mean, how does it feel to you?
I mean, we just, the tour with Municipal Waste was a great tour, but it was short. It was
Right.
2 weeks, but thankfully it was only 2 weeks because their tour manager, merchandise guy, and their bass player both tested positive as soon as they got home. And myself and my drummer both tested positive as soon as we got home. So had the tour gone on any longer, we might have been screwed. I mean,
Sure.
thank God we caught it at the tail end. We didn't even really know we had it. The tour ended and we had one headlining show in Memphis. And myself and the drummer woke up and we were just like, oh my God, I'm sick. Well, we thought it was a flu. You know,
Right.
so everybody gets the flu on tour and shit. You know, I take a
Mhm.
1,000 fucking vitamins and supplements every freaking
Sure.
day. You know, I overdo it really, just you know, trying to stay healthy. And you know, we both were like, man, I wonder if we got the flu. You know, we're vaccinated. It shouldn't be COVID. Well, it was.
Right.
And you know, so I mean, at this point, I'm fully vaccinated, and I should have antibodies. I didn't test. I tested negative December 5th.
Okay.
So you know, it's relatively new with it getting out of my body and everything. But so I mean, I'm not scared about it. I don't really think of touring as more of a job now. But
Okay.
I'm one of the dudes that likes to hang out at merchandise. My wife does
Right.
merch and TMs. I like to hang out at merch. I like to meet the fans. I like to take pictures. And, you know, I'm not going to lie. I did a bit of that on the municipal run.
Right.
And I don't, now my wife's selling merchandise and taking care of me, never caught the shit. She's fully
Hmm.
vaxxed, but, you know, um, I don't know. I mean, in general, I'm usually like, you know, pretty healthy as far as not getting, you know, not getting sick easily with,
Right.
I mean, I'll have sinus shit and this and that. I mean, you know, we're you know, one day it's 90 degrees and 3 days later it's 2 degrees somewhere out north or some shit, you know. So
Right.
the weather change and the climate change with like just the humidity and like if you're out west, the dryness and the mountains, you know, air and all
Mhm.
this is different from, I mean, you know, the whole thing. But it's hard for anyone to stay 100% healthy on tour, especially now. But you know, we can't be scared about it. Like I said, just take precautions and do what you got to
Sure.
do and go for it. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably, you know, mask up, hanging by merch this time because I do want to do it. But you know,
Sure.
we've kind of transitioned into, hey, we'll do the fist bump,
Right.
and you want a picture, okay? But there's no more sweaty drunk guys hanging on me
Right. Right. Right.
for the photo. You know, I'm like, no, 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 no. It just and no disrespect, but I mean, you know, we just can't have it. I mean, the world has changed, and
Right.
you know, the stuff is out there and it's real. So, you know, but you know, I'm the guy that really likes to go, and I've always been that way. Even with Down, like me and Pepper, a lot of times he'd be like, you know, let's get out of this fucking dressing room, and we go walk into the
Right.
crowd and just go
Right.
get a beer at the bar just to do it. And of course, you got to take some photos and shit, but we do it, you know.
Sure.
No worries, it's part of the job.
Right.
But you know, nowadays it's different, you know, with the COVID. It really is. You gotta, and especially after catching it, you know, I'm like, you know, I've got to be as cautious as I can. I really do.
Sure.
But you know, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting on stage and jamming, man. You know, um,
Right.
and hopefully, you know, we will get through this thing unscathed and have a great tour. And I think we will.
Sure, definitely, and certainly a great tour with obviously you guys and Sacred Reich and Sepultura. That's getting back to metal, man. That's not that's not a light tour at all.
No, it's all old school too, which I like. It's
Right.
all a bunch of old guys, you know, but who are great at what they do, in my opinion. All of the bands.
Right.
So you know, I'm really looking forward to it. Very looking forward to it. I mean, the municipal was great, but it was like a little taste of it, you
Mhm.
know. But 2 weeks is not, you know. This is 5 weeks or something, you know.
Sure.
So we start up March 4th and we end April 9th.
Okay.
So you know, we got a long drive from New Orleans to Sacramento, California.
Right.
But so be it, you know, and then a long drive from Berkeley, California. It starts and ends in California.
Oh,
So
wow.
we literally hit everywhere. And then, I mean, all the way from Boston down to Tampa and then all the way back across. So, you know, we're hitting pretty much all of the main markets
Sure.
out there on this one. So, you know, it should be a blast.
Absolutely, man. And obviously you'll be playing some of the music from Zero and Below. I just have to tell you, man, of all the records, and I'm old like you, I'm in my mid-50s too, so
Yeah, I'm
I've
kind
been
of getting in the later 50s, but still.
I've been following the band literally since I saw Anselmo wear the T-shirt in the video. Like so many fans, I'm
Right,
assuming
right,
that's when
sure.
everybody discovered the band. Of all the records that you've done, I would argue this might be the heaviest and the most doomiest record you've done. Do you feel that way? And was that kind of by intention?
It's I'll say this. I think it's the doomiest record we've done. And you're not the first. I've been loaded down last week and this week and week before actually with interviews,
Sure.
and everyone has mentioned that it's doom. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Thank you, because we really wanted to make. I mean, of course, there's some upbeat shit, and that's part of
Mhm.
Crowbar's sound as well. But I think we really consciously said, you know what? Let's write doom. And with doom stuff gives you a lot more opportunity vocally to have melody, as
Right.
opposed to the faster songs, which are more hardcore. It's more of a shouting type thing or something. It's hard to get melody in on the fast parts. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. It's definitely not our most abrasive record. Like, to me, I think the angriest record we probably have, other than maybe the self-titled, is probably Broken Glass. But
Right.
Oddfellows Rest, of course, is a fan favorite. I mean, this one, I'm not trying to compare it to Oddfellows Rest, but it's got to me, the vibe is similar, because there is a lot of slower, doomier, more melodic things. And really, Oddfellows Rest, that was the first time that Crowbar brought that stuff into our sound. We went from Broken Glass, which has almost no melody vocally, maybe one or two tracks. It's just an angry record. But
Right.
we went from that, and I was like, man, let's bring in some new elements. Let's not be afraid to do shit. And I was, to be honest, I was scared as fuck to open the record with Planets Collide. I'm like, it's too catchy. I'm like,
Right.
fans are gonna hate it, and of course, it's a fan favorite.
Sure.
It's 24 years later or whatever the fuck it is.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, I am 100%, and all the guys are, happy with the way this record turned out. Sonically, it really sounds great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're one of the, I won't say few bands, but everyone these days seems to EQ their albums for little earbuds and shit like that.
Mhm.
And they like to take the whole spectrum of frequency and squash it down.
Right.
And we expand it as far as we can. We love bottom end, not mud, but clear
Mhm.
bottom end. And a lot of albums these days are not mixed that way. But for us, like Dwayne Semino, the producer, and he's the engineer producer. He records everything, masters it, the whole 9 yards. He told me, he said, "Man, I mixed this and mastered this as if it were a vinyl record.
Right.
Like, we kept in as much as big of a frequency range as we could, and it sounds old school,
Mhm.
but new and very, very, it's probably our best sounding record to me,
Sure.
sonically,
Mhm.
um, but um, like I said, like you were saying, we're old, so I don't want to have the new squished, and no disrespect whatsoever, but like Hot Topic sound or something
Right.
that the newer, younger bands have. It's just not my thing.
Right.
I'm too old for that. I love what I love, and I love this new record.
Sure. At this point, is Dwayne like the sixth member of Crowbar? I mean, you've worked with him a bunch, and he
Absolutely.
really has the vibe of what you do.
Well, he would be the fifth member, but still close. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, I agree, and I also work with him. Like my first solo record and the second solo record. It's just me and Dwayne at the studio. That's it.
Okay.
It's just us two. We have a great, we become really, really close friends, and we have a great working relationship. But yeah, he's very important in what we do now. And I remember on The Serpent Only Lies, Josta was like, I said, I want Dwayne to be the producer. And he goes, well, you kind of need a name guy. And I'm like, well, but dude, how is he going to get a name? He deserves it. How is he going to get a name if he doesn't get an opportunity to produce a record,
Right.
And he goes, you know what? You're right. He's done a great job. Let him have at it. So, and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to work with anyone else. Although we did back in the day. I mean, I enjoy working with Zeus and with Nikki Belmore, like with the Kingdom of Sorrow stuff. But for Crowbar, I mean, Dwayne's our guy, and that's pretty much, it wouldn't sound like it. Even songwriting wise, he'll be like, you know what? Because he plays anything. He's not a master of everything, but he can play anything, And he's got a great ear. He can't sing worth a fuck, but he's got a great ear. He'll be the first to tell you that. So he'll be giving me a vocal idea, and he's trying to hum it. I'm in the vocal booth. I'm like, huh? And he's like, dude, I can't sing, but kind of like, and I'm like, oh, I got it. But but he even, he's a great guitar player, so he'll stop and say, what about, like harmony wise? Okay, instead of following that descending pattern and just harmonizing that, why don't you ascend up the neck and kind of cross them over, and I'm like, all right, so I'll come up with something, and I'm like, how's that? He goes, sounds great. So he kind of I mean, basically, not to sound like a dick, I mean, I get the final word, but in general, if he suggests something similar to Josta from the management side, if Dwayne suggests something musically, I normally listen to what he has to say,
Sure, definitely. Well, you mentioned Jamie a couple times. I have to ask, and this is not really Crowbar related, but are we ever going to see more Kingdom of Sorrow, or is that project kind of run its course?
Well, there's a whole lot of talk about it right now. In fact, I talked to Josta this morning, not about Kingdom. I actually talked to him Saturday, which is unusual. But we had some business to talk about. But yeah, we're talking. We're in the process of kind of getting stuff together to do another Kingdom. So I think we're definitely going to do another record.
Very good. Please do, because those two records are spectacular. And I don't think they got, considering the level that you're at and that he's at, I don't think those records got near enough love that they should have from the metal community. Those records kill, man.
I mean, the people that like it, love it, and that love it. I really think the problem is due to both of our schedules. We really weren't able to do like proper. I mean, the only proper tour we really did was back in 2011, and that was the Mayhem Fest, which I don't even think exists any longer. But that was that was like, complete cross country thing. It was a big festival with Disturbed, Godsmack, Megadeth, Trivium, Machine Head. It was a really big festival, and we played. It was about 40 days long or something. So that was pretty much the summer of 2011. But so we got that really helped put us on the map a bit. But these little short 2-week tours here and there, and just picking a market, it's difficult. I mean, more than ever with record sales the way they are and the whole industry the way it is, you really need to beat the pavement probably more now than maybe back in the 60s and 70s when everything was word of mouth,
Sure.
And because the industry, it is what it is. And that's that. But so hopefully we can do a little more touring with it and really push the next record when it does come out. But we're definitely going to do one. I would give it a nod as gonna happen.
Awesome. Well, for now, since we don't have that one, we definitely have this new one. Zero and Below comes out March 4th. Kurt, where should we send people to get the record and keep up with you and tour dates and all that stuff?
Tour date wise, I mean, you can check everything out on Crowbar's Facebook page. I'm sure is the easiest. I don't do. My wife does, and Jamie does. They do like the Instagram and Twitter and all that. I don't really. Facebook's fine with me, and I don't even get on it nearly as much as I used to. I just keep up with what's going on with my friends,
Sure.
And it's a great vehicle for promoting, especially like an old dude like me. It's easy enough. But, if you go on the Crowbar Facebook page, all the tour dates for Sepultura and Sacred Reich are up there. And, that's the easiest route. Now, for merchandise, and if you're not able to come to shows, or you want to buy merchandise, the only official merchandise, the only official Crowbar merchandise is at martyrstore.net, which is Jamie's thing. He's got, Hatebreed, Crowbar, Hatewear, which is his merchandise company, his
Right.
brand, and a lot of other stuff. But so yeah, martyrstore.net is official Crowbar merch. Now, from time to time, my wife Robin will print up 60 pairs of shorts or some little one-off thing. Now, if it's on my page or her page, it's legit. But we're not the online merchandise company. Martyrstore.net is,
Sure, makes sense, man. Well, one more time, the name of the album, Zero and Below. It's out March 4th. And Kirk, great talking to you once again.
Oh,
and,
you too. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on and doing Aftershocks.
Thank you.
Oh.